The ordinary world before the big moment. The soft morning sun slowly rose over London. Its golden light touched the old stone walls of Kensington Palace, filling the royal rooms with a gentle warmth. Inside one quiet room, something very special was happening. Princess Catherine, also known as Kate, stood near a tall window holding her tiny baby in her arms. The little one was wrapped in a beautiful white christening gown. The gown was old, passed down through the royal family. For many years, it had been worn by many royal babies before, each one a small part of a big story. The baby slept peacefully, her face calm and soft, her tiny hands curled near her cheek. Kate looked down at her daughter with eyes full of love. Her heart felt full, so full it almost hurt. Behind her, Prince William, dressed in his formal military uniform, was checking the time. He smiled gently at Kate and their baby. "Are you ready?" he asked softly. Kate nodded. "As ready as I'll ever be." Today was a big day. They were taking their daughter to Westminster Abbey. She would be blessed and welcomed into the royal family with a traditional christening. This was a very old and special event. Cameras would be there. People all over the world would watch. Newspapers and TV channels were already waiting outside. But for now, inside this room, everything was still and quiet. It was just a husband, a wife, and their baby, 3 hearts beating closely together. A family moment. This was not Kate's first child. She and William already had 2 beautiful children. But every time she held a newborn baby, it felt like the first time. Every child was a miracle. Every child was a new beginning. Kate sat down in a chair near the window. She gently rocked her daughter and hummed a soft lullaby. William stood nearby, watching them. He felt something strong inside. Deep pride and a quiet joy. He wasn't just a prince today, he was a father. And this tiny baby in Kate's arms was a part of both his heart and his history. The palace staff moved quietly outside the room. They were preparing the baby's bag, checking the convoy route, and making sure everything was perfect. The royal protection officers had already done their final checks. The road to Westminster Abbey was clear and safe. The Archbishop of Canterbury was waiting. So were the baby's godparents, close family, and special guests. The Queen herself would be present. It was a royal event, one of great meaning. Yet inside this room, it still felt like an ordinary morning in a loving home. Remembering the past, holding the present, Kate looked at the christening gown. It was soft, decorated with tiny lace and beautiful embroidery. She had studied its history. She knew it had been worn by William, and by many generations before him. Each stitch told a story. Now her daughter would become part of that long story. Her fingers brushed the baby's hair. The child stirred, then settled again. "I wonder what kind of life you'll live," Kate whispered. "So many eyes will follow you, but I hope you always feel free." Kate thought about her own journey. She was once just a young girl from a small town. She had dreams, just like any other girl, and now she was a mother in the royal family, preparing her child for a life full of duty and tradition. Her parents, Michael and Carol Middleton, had arrived earlier that morning. They were downstairs now, smiling with pride, holding hands and waiting for their granddaughter's special day. They had come a long way too, and now they stood at the edge of history. A city awaits. Outside the palace, the streets of London were waking up. People were already standing along the road, waving flags, holding signs, and waiting with hope and excitement. Some had camped all night just to see the royal family drive by. Many brought flowers. Some carried pictures of William and Kate from years ago. Wedding photos, baby photos, family memories. They had followed this couple from their university days, through their fairy tale wedding, and now through the joy of a growing family. To them, this baby wasn't just a royal child. She was a symbol of love, of hope, and of new beginnings. The quiet before the moment, Kate stood up slowly, careful not to wake the baby. She walked to the mirror and checked her dress. It was a soft blue color chosen with care, simple, elegant, and practical enough to hold the baby. It matched her sapphire ring, the one that once belonged to Princess Diana. Every part of her appearance had meaning. Her hair was perfectly styled. Her shoes were low-heeled, to help her walk confidently while carrying her child. She didn't want to trip or stumble. Today, every step mattered. The royal nursery team had spent weeks preparing for this day. They had packed extra blankets, extra clothes, and all the baby's essentials. The older children had their special clothes ready, too. They were excited to welcome their new sibling in front of the world. William picked up the baby's soft blanket and tucked it gently around her. "She's sleeping like an angel," he said. Kate smiled. "Maybe she knows today is special." William nodded. "Or maybe she just feels safe in your arms." The clock chimed gently. It was time. William looked around the nursery one last time. So many quiet moments had happened here. Laughter, lullabies, and tiny cries in the night. Now they would step outside and share their joy with the world. Kate took a deep breath. She wasn't just stepping into the sunshine. She was stepping into history again, but this time with a new baby in her arms. The time had come. The palace gates slowly opened as the royal convoy began to move. The streets of London were ready. Crowds stood on both sides of the road, holding their phones, their signs, and their breath. The sound of soft clapping and cheers filled the morning air. Inside the main car, Kate sat quietly, holding her sleeping baby. William sat beside her. The baby was still wrapped in the soft white christening gown, her tiny face calm and peaceful. Kate looked out the window. People smiled and waved. Some had tears in their eyes. Many waved small flags, red, white, and blue Union Jacks, dancing in the breeze. It made her heart swell with emotion. "It's really happening," she whispered. William nodded. "Yes, it's a big day." Eyes on them, all eyes were on the royal family now. Photographers lined the roads. Long camera lenses clicked every second, trying to capture the perfect picture. Police officers stood in lines, keeping the roads clear and safe. Everything was perfectly planned, but inside the car, things didn't feel perfect. Not at all. Kate's hands were a little shaky. She held her baby tighter. "What if she cries during the ceremony?" she asked. "She might," William said gently. "And it's okay if she does." Kate gave a nervous smile, but her heart beat faster. She wanted everything to go well. She wanted her baby to be calm. She wanted to walk gracefully, speak kindly, and make no mistake. The whole world was watching. Memories of the past as the car moved through the old streets of London. Kate's mind drifted to her first royal event years ago. She remembered the crowds, the flashing cameras, and the pressure to be perfect. It had been hard, but she had grown stronger with each passing year. But being a mother made things feel different. There was more emotion now, more love, and also more worry. She didn't just want to do well, she wanted to protect her child. She looked at the tiny face in her arms. Her daughter was sleeping so peacefully, not knowing anything about what was happening. Not knowing that thousands of people were outside waiting to see her. A mother's heart, Kate leaned closer to the baby and whispered, "You're so small, but today you are part of something so big." She looked at William. "Do you ever feel scared?" she asked softly. William smiled gently. "All the time. But I remember what my mother told me. When you do something with love, you do it right." Kate nodded. She liked that. She closed her eyes for a moment and took a deep breath. It helped. The baby stirred a little. Her hand moved, reaching toward the air, then settled again. William touched her tiny fingers and smiled. "She has your nose," he said. Kate laughed quietly. That small joke helped her relax. The city holds its breath. The convoy moved slowly, past Big Ben, past the historic buildings and closer to Westminster Abbey. Every step of this journey had been checked and planned by the royal team. Yet still the feeling was tense. like standing on a stage before the curtain rises. Kate could see the large stone towers of the abbey in the distance. They looked tall and strong, reaching for the sky. The sun was shining now, and the light touched every window, making them glow like gold. The baby opened her eyes for a second, looked up at her mother, and then closed them again. "She's calm," William said. "That's a good sign." Kate nodded, but her heart was racing. A world waiting far away. In other parts of the world, people were watching on their screens. In homes, in schools, and in newsrooms, millions were waiting to see the royal baby. Some people loved the tradition. Some watched out of curiosity. Others simply wanted to feel part of something beautiful. A new life. A royal child. A moment of joy in a busy world. At the same time, in the abbey, guests were already seated. Family members, godparents, friends, and church leaders had taken their places. The Queen sat in the front row. Her face was calm, but her eyes sparkled. She had seen many christenings, but each one was special. This was her great-grandchild. Her family was growing, and the future was being shaped. Tension builds. The car turned the final corner. Kate's breath caught in her throat. Westminster Abbey stood right in front of them now. The crowd outside the gates was huge. Security guards stepped forward. Police checked every movement. Everything was happening as planned, but inside Kate, the emotions were growing. "This is it," she said quietly. William nodded. "We're ready." The car stopped. For a moment, everything was still. The car door had not yet opened. The baby slept quietly. Kate looked at William. He smiled and took her hand. His touch gave her strength. "You're doing great," he whispered. "She's lucky to have you." Kate smiled, but her eyes were wet. It was a happy kind of tears. The royal guard gave the signal. The car door would open in just a moment. Kate looked down at her daughter one last time. "You are part of something bigger than you know," she whispered. "But you are still just our little girl." She kissed the baby's forehead. William leaned closer and kissed both of them. "Let's do this." The sounds outside grew louder. People were cheering. The church bells began to ring. Photographers were ready. The world was waiting. Kate took a deep breath. The door of the royal car opened. Kate stepped out first, her baby in her arms. The soft christening gown moved gently in the breeze. The sun touched her face. The crowd cheered. Cameras flashed. William stepped out next, smiling calmly beside his wife. They walked slowly toward Westminster Abbey. From the outside, they looked calm, graceful, strong. But inside, Kate's heart beat fast. Her hands gripped the baby tightly, not from fear, but from love. She had done many public events before, but this felt different. This was her baby, and this moment was once in a lifetime. The grand entrance. The big wooden doors of Westminster Abbey opened slowly. Inside, the light was soft and golden. The air smelled of fresh flowers and old stone. Hundreds of people stood as the royal couple entered. The sound of quiet gasps filled the church. The Queen sat in the front row. She gave a small smile as Kate passed by. Family members, friends, and the baby's godparents watched closely. The Archbishop of Canterbury stood near the altar, dressed in white and gold robes. He nodded warmly at the couple. "Welcome," he said. Everything looked perfect. But then, suddenly, it wasn't. A sudden cry as Kate reached the front of the abbey. The baby began to move. A small noise came from her mouth. Then another. And then a loud cry. Kate stopped in her steps. The soft crying turned into loud wailing. The baby was crying, and not just a little. Her tiny face turned red. She was upset, very upset. The whole abbey became still. People looked around. Cameras clicked once, then stopped. The peaceful moment had turned to tension. Kate's heart dropped. All eyes watching. She didn't know what to do. She looked at William. He gave her a small nod, telling her silently, "It's okay." But it didn't feel okay. The baby's cries echoed through the high ceilings of the Abbey. It was supposed to be a holy moment, a quiet moment, a royal moment. Kate rocked her gently. She whispered, "Shh. It's all right, my love." But the baby only cried louder. Her hands waved. Her legs kicked. Her tiny voice filled the ancient church with noise. Pressure grows. Kate felt warm. Her cheeks turned red. Not from embarrassment, but from stress. She had dreamed of this moment for weeks. She had chosen her dress carefully, picked the christening gown, practiced the walk, and imagined the silence and smiles. But this was not what she had imagined. She thought, what if people think I am a bad mother? What if I can't calm her? She could feel the weight of the world on her shoulders. William stepped closer. He whispered, "Take a moment, we're not in a rush." Kate nodded, but her hands were shaking now. A mother's decision. The Archbishop looked at her kindly. "Would you like a moment in the side chapel?" It was a quiet space just off the main hall. It would give her and the baby some privacy. The cameras would not follow her there. "Yes, please," Kate said softly. She turned and walked slowly to the side chapel. William stayed with the guests, holding calm as his armor, but his eyes followed every step. The doors closed behind her, and, for a moment, there was only silence. Inside the side chapel, the chapel was small. The light came through stained glass windows. It was peaceful and quiet. Kate sat down on a wooden bench. She held her baby close. She began to hum softly. A lullaby. The same one she sang each night. "Sleep, little one. You're safe in my arms." The baby's crying slowed, then stopped. She looked up at Kate with teary eyes, then yawned. Kate felt her heart melt. "Thank you," she whispered, kissing her daughter's forehead. "We're okay. You're doing your best. And so am I." She was not alone. Few minutes later, someone knocked gently on the door. It was her mother, Carol Middleton. "I just wanted to see if you needed anything," her mother said. Kate stood up. "She's better now. Just needed a break." Her mother smiled. "Babies don't know about cameras and crowns. They just need love. And you give her that." Kate hugged her. She felt tears again, but this time, they were tears of love. "You were always my baby," Carol whispered. "Now you have yours." Returned to the ceremony back in the main hall, guests waited patiently. William stood by the altar, his face calm but hopeful. Then the doors opened again. Kate walked back in, her baby now quiet, her head resting gently on her shoulder. She walked with slow grace, but this time, there was something more in her step. Not fear, not pressure. Strength, love. Everyone stood again. The Queen smiled. William's eyes sparkled with relief. The Archbishop stepped forward. "Shall we begin?" The ceremony went on smoothly from that point. The baby remained peaceful, occasionally yawning or blinking sleepily. Kate stood strong. She knew now. It didn't matter if things didn't go exactly as planned. What mattered was love. Real life. Real emotions. Real strength. When the holy water touched the baby's head, everyone felt the moment deep in their hearts. This was not just a tradition. This was family. This was hope. This was a beginning. The sun shone brightly over Westminster Abbey as the final part of the christening ceremony began. The air inside the Abbey was still and warm, full of quiet joy and royal pride. Kate stood beside William at the altar, holding their calm, sleeping baby. The Archbishop of Canterbury smiled as he read the final blessing. His voice was soft but full of strength. "This child is born into love, into duty, and into hope," he said. "Let her path be guided by care, courage, and kindness." The baby stirred slightly, her small fingers twitching gently. It was as if she could feel the special moment happening all around her. The crowd inside the Abbey listened closely. Even the youngest guests were quiet now. Everyone could feel it. This was a moment that would be remembered for many years. The strength of a family. William gently placed his hand over Kate's as they both looked at their child. For a moment it didn't matter that they were royals. They were simply parents, full of pride, love, and deep emotion. Kate took a deep breath. She had walked through the pressure, the worry, and the crying. And now, here she was, smiling, steady, strong. Behind her, her mother and father, Carol and Michael Middleton, watched with tears in their eyes. From a small town to Westminster Abbey, their family journey had come so far. They had raised a daughter who was now shaping the future of the royal family with grace and warmth. On the other side of the room, Prince Charles and Camilla stood quietly. Charles looked at his son, William, and nodded. He remembered holding William as a baby in this same abbey during a time when the world was different. Now his son was the father, carrying the royal legacy forward. A baby's silent promise, the christening was complete. The Archbishop gently stepped back. The baby, still asleep, rested peacefully in Kate's arms. Her face was calm, her small chest rising and falling with tiny breaths. To the world, she was a royal child, born into history and tradition. To William and Kate, she was their precious daughter. A little miracle who had already taught them something powerful. Love doesn't have to be perfect. Real love is messy, honest, and brave. The baby's cry earlier had shaken the silence, but it had also reminded everyone that this was not just a royal moment, it was a human one. Outside the Abbey, as the grand doors of Westminster Abbey opened again, the light from the summer sky spilled inside. It was time for the royal family to step out and greet the world. William and Kate walked side by side, holding their baby between them. Her head rested gently against her mother's shoulder, her eyes now open, blinking softly at the bright light. The crowd outside clapped and cheered. Union Jack flags waved. Children on their parents' shoulders shouted, "We love you, Princess." Kate waved with her free hand. She looked calm and peaceful. William smiled and nodded to the people, thankful for their support and love. Reporters captured every step. Photographers clicked their cameras. But no flash was stronger than the natural light shining from the faces of the royal couple. A special family photo. Just outside the Abbey, a special photo was taken. The entire royal family stood together. The Queen, Prince Charles, Camilla, the Middletons, Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis, all smiling together, and at the center stood William, Kate, and their new baby. The photo was more than just a picture. It was a message of hope, of unity, and of family. Quiet moments. After later that afternoon, back at Kensington Palace, the baby rested in her crib, soft music playing in the background. Kate sat beside her watching her daughter sleep. She reached down, gently stroking the baby's tiny hand. "You were perfect today," she whispered. William walked in, holding 2 cups of tea. He gave one to Kate and sat beside her. "You were amazing," he said to her with a smile. "You were strong." Kate leaned her head on his shoulder. "She cried," Kate said softly. "And that's okay," William replied. "She was just being herself." Kate nodded. "And that's what I want for her, to always be herself." The meaning of the day. That night, as the lights dimmed across London and the stars sparkled above, the world continued to talk about the royal christening. Photos filled newspapers, videos played on screens, headlines read, "A royal moment full of real emotion." Kate's gentle strength shines bright. The future of the crown begins with a cry and a smile. But for William and Kate, the greatest part of the day was not the camera flashes or the press. It was the quiet, simple truth that they had made it through together. Through nerves, through tears, through tradition, through love. They had faced the day as a team, as parents, as heroes of their own story. A baby's place in history. The baby slept peacefully, not knowing the eyes of the world had been on her. She didn't yet know that she would one day carry the hopes of a nation, but one day she would. And she would. Remember, through the stories, through the photos, and through the love of her parents, that she had been brought into the world, not with perfection, but with heart. The moral, love is stronger than pressure. In the end, it wasn't about being perfect. It wasn't about tradition or titles. It was about being present. It was about choosing love when things get hard. It was about standing tall when the world watches. And most of all, it was about holding each other close, in the quiet moments, and in the loud ones too. This was not just a story of royalty. It was the story of real people, of family, and of the quiet strength that carries us through.